Hey guys, welcome back to a new video, and we are back with something different. We're gonna do reading vlogs. Mostly because I want to read, and Dakota does not like to read. But he likes hearing the stories, so I'm gonna read to him. So we have the first book we're gonna read is Configured. I technically have a TBR list. That's like, those are my series up there. I've pulled the second book of this series out because that's the one I'm technically on, but Dakota's never heard of this, or he's never read it, and when I read the back to him, he found it interesting. So we're gonna read it so he knows what the hell's going on. That way when I read the second one, it makes sense. Right?
Sounds about right, yeah.
And also, I am almost 9 months pregnant, so I am having Braxton Hicks and then regular contractions. So if I just stop talking, it's because I'm in a fair amount of pain and I just need a minute. I'll probably go through and maybe edit them out depending on how long they last, but I also don't really care to edit these because I'm a bad reader anyway, and that would take a long time to edit. Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
So, chapter 1. My own mother is ranked beneath me. Incompatible. Joy is the name she gave me 17 years ago. Sometimes I imagine it as an invocation, a gift entrusted to guarantee a happy life, no matter what. But it's inappropriate to question a name I barely use, given by a mother I barely know. Evelyn, the name I go by now, suits me much better. My final meeting with her is scheduled in a few days at our once-a-year meal together on the other side of Allure. I think it's Allure. I don't know. Fantasy words are confusing. In her manger level 1 apartment. She'll prattle on about the weather and avoid the topic of Ben, my twin brother, who our bio father. Her chocolate brown hair, the color we share, worn long and loose, makes her lower level distinction, I can read, obvious. When I leave, she'll remind me she's proud of my status and give me a tight hug. I have little practice in returning. Thankfully, I wasn't raised by her. Reassignment by direction to a compatible family is an honor, especially if it's an upgrade. Lark is my compatible parents' last name, as well as mine now. The name is compelling of a bird, supposedly with a cheerful song. I've never heard one. People are few, so are birds. And the meaning strikes me as ironic for a level 2 compatibility family. The higher your intelligence potential, the more you're required to stay focused, display less emotion. That's what I meant by she doesn't know she can have emotions. Today is Configuration Day. It's my 17th birthday and the last day of university. My career, which I have no choice in deciding, begins tomorrow. This should be your day too, right, Ben? I mutter. He doesn't answer. When does someone who lives in your mind ever respond? Butterflies fluttering through my stomach. I run my hand under the mattress of my bed and find it. A flat, hidden package wrapped in brown paper. Paper went out of general use years ago. I take it and rub the unfamiliar texture between my fingers. Rough and old. A scrowl. Okay. The childish letters adorn the surface. I'm gonna struggle with this book.
I'm seeing this.
In my head, I just kind of skim through those words and ignore it. and it eventually makes sense in my brain. Can't do that out loud. I love you. The backward Y brings a smile to my lips, but then disappears with a gulp at the forbidden words. A single piece of tired, oblong bounding material holds the fold of the paper together. I flick it open, and out drops a tiny pendant attached to a chain, a simple gold heart. Because outward appearance is considered irrelevant, people don't wear jewelry. And a heart shape, shocking. But also pretty. I stroke the smooth metal, then shake my head. No, it's out of place from a time long past and gone forever, and yet something about it being on my birthday makes me slip the charm into my pocket. That, and it makes me feel close to Ben. It'd been a gift from him on our 4th birthday, likely stolen from our biological mother, Bess. He lived with her at the time. Of course, I'd never worn it. If seen, direction may pray into my personal life. If they ever found out I still thought of Ben, let alone talked to him, I'd be sent in for re-education, probably demoted to level 1, but safe in my pocket no matter. No one will ever know. Itchy face. Don't laugh at me. I'm uncomfortable. I shove the paper back under the mattress, push up from the bed, and step toward the sliding bedroom door, turning back to look at my room. For a second, I close my eyes and take a deep breath, just like Father taught me. But the ache in my stomach I woke up with still bores inside me. I slip my hand over the sensor and move through the open doorway into the hall. A faint auto light fades on to guide me through the vacant hall. My parents rise early, and I figure they're already waiting for me to talk of the career configuration meeting later today. Or worse, something dumb like spouse pairings. That's an interesting process. You'll enjoy that when it comes up. I'm dreading being chained to another person for the rest of my life more than any aspect of my citizen configuration. Passing through the living room, I shuffle toward the kitchen, expecting the familiar busy motion of Mother in the dining area. Instead, I'm met with a blinking memo on the personal message screen. Alongside her image, Darlene Lark, always put together with sandy brown hair, cut in a short, crisp bob, the same as mine, but fair in color. Sometimes, for a fleeting moment, her face looks kind, even warm, but here she only displays her standard composed demeanor. I tap the screen, and the image flicks to life. Evelyn, your father and I had to leave early this morning, her image says. Remember your appointment at the medical station at university first thing. One last physical before the meeting. Lunch is on the counter. I can't flip the page. Mother pinches her lips together and the vid pauses. With a tap, the screen goes black. I roll my eyes. She still orders my lunch every day and puts it on the counter for me to take to training. Silly, I'm not 5. And besides, I won't even need a lunch today. My position will start tomorrow, not primer school. I must have asked her 20 times to stop doing it, but every morning it sits on the counter. She doesn't trust that I'm capable to do it myself. She never has. My stomach growls. I touch the screen on the food printer to order my favorite a blueberry muffin, ignoring the flashing green alert signaling the printer will need to be refilled soon. No sooner than I hit send, it makes zipping and whirling sounds, followed by a beep. I release the door and grab the plain printed plate, holding the fluffy blue splotched muffin. A sugary aroma wafts from the opening, making my mouth water. They print food, by the way. Literally can print food. Do you know how much I would love that right now? And my pregnancy, tiredness, and laziness? God, that would be awesome. Printing food. I also feel like it wouldn't taste very good. I've watched informational vids on fresh food and pictured myself picking the fresh fruits and vegetables shown in them. I pick out a blueberry and pop it in my mouth, tasting the sweet tart juice. Wonder if the food from the printer tastes the same. That's what I want to know. I want to know if it tastes like the actual shit. Despite the sweetness, I only managed to choke down a few bites of muffin before tossing it and the plate into the recycler to be remade into food and plates again. Again, weird. But I would really much like that as my laziness right now. I pack a satchel with my handheld flex and the lunch mother put out just in case. In the living room, an alert flashes on the media viewer. An official direction message addressed to Evelyn Joy Lark. Nope, there was a burp stuck there for a second. I thought it was gonna come out. It is not. My heart stops. On configuration day, besides a designated career, citizens also obtain the contacts of suitable spouse pairs. I've never even been on a date. Courting hasn't been allowed for over 30 years, but now strangers deemed perfect for me will come calling. It's a dating app, by the way, except this is how they have to get their partners. They don't have an option. It's literally a dating app that measures their intelligence. A shiver works its way up my spine at the thought. This day is already happening too fast and it's barely started. Most look forward to the opportunity to be paired, but instead I ignore the message and hold my breath until I'm out of the front door and into the corridor, almost tripping. I sidestep a hefty package with a Natra Enterprise logo stamped on it. Side, our weekly order food printer refill. I release the breath and take out my handheld to reach my friend Kyra. Beep. Their little handhelds are called flexes, and then each one has codes to them on top of adding their name at the end. So hers is Flex 682 AB1, and then her name A Lark. And then the message is, want to walk with me? Kyra and I often meet up on the way to university, and since today is my last day, I really want to see her. Who knows how much interaction we will have in the future? Probably none, since after the transition period, communication with childhood friends is highly discouraged. The vibration of her response comes quickly. Hers is Flex 35D52G K Lewis. I'm downstairs. I think the reason those are important is because sometimes you don't see the name, you just see a code when you get messages on there, but I don't know at the same time. It's very extra. Today the elevator sounds too confining and I need to work off the nervous energy. Each footfall echoes and booms as I take the 7 flights of stairs down. For some reason, the noise is satisfying, turning up the corners of my lips. At the bottom, I spot Kyra through the sparkling glass of the foyer, vacantly staring at her flex. Her straight blonde hair is pulled in a low ponytail, and her plain light gray clothes are as utilitarian. I don't know. That's a big word. It's spelled Utilitarian.
Yeah, you're right.
That's right.
Utilitarian.
Oh. What does that mean? Words. I don't like words. I'm a simple person. As the bleak something outfit I chose. I also think they're colorized. Or not colorized, they don't have colors. I don't know. I think it'll tell us a little bit more about it in here in a second. Somehow, she always looks amazing with her naturally tan skin and aquamarine eyes. In contrast, my pale complexion and hazel irises are common, but looks don't equal intelligence, so it's stupid to care. Once at the entrance, the door drifts open to the street and lets in a rush of cool fall air, a fluid, pearly Erix? Erix? I don't know. Delivery drone floats through and hovers past me, metallic tentacles clutching a delivery for a resident in the building. That's another thing. Drone deliveries. Which again, in theory, sound kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I imagine the world would be if technology took over. You know?
Hopefully it would just suck less out in general.
Suck less in general?
Yeah.
Well, in this story, it's kind of messed up.
Oh yeah, that story is probably gonna suck.
Yeah. Kind of messed up. It's literally like every conspiracy theorist's worst nightmare of like technology has taken over the world. Emotions are bad, you know, stuff like that. It's interesting though. Where was I? The gigantic media screen affixed high on the building directly in front of us flickers, and up comes Brian Marshall, the morning newscaster, with salt and pepper hair and a stern expression. Level 2 and 3 bursts are at an all-time high and out past those at level 1 by 50%. This is a good thing. So levels are... I don't think it's fully explained. So she is in level 2, which I believe I've mentioned, or it says at some point. She's at level 2. Level 1 is considered the least intelligent, and then level 3 is the highest intelligence. And then 2 is mid, fairly decent intelligence. And they want more intelligent people than they do non-intelligent people. So level 1, a lot of people look down on, I guess you could say. I'm trying to think of another book series that kind of reminds me of, but I can't think of it right now. Oh well. The extraordinary news has come in time to commemorate 35 years of compatibility pairing and birth reassignment. So they do compatibility pairing, which is your intelligence and your jobs relate to what will get you to pair with someone else kind of situation.
Oh,
And then the birth reassignment is, for example, like her situation, she was considered overly intelligent for level 1 standards, so they took her from level 1 and put her into level 2 for a better life kind of situation, because they test all the kids as children multiple times through a few years, I think, to see where their intelligence level is, and then they reassign you based off of your intelligence level if you don't already fit in that level. So like her brother was in that level and remained in that level while she was considered over intelligent and went up to level 2. Does that make sense? Okay. He goes on to announce an interview tonight with an expert on disease and why the vaccinations are necessary to ensure a worldwide pandemic like the collapse never happens again. The collapse is like the equivalent of COVID, except worse. From what I understand in this, it killed not only people, but animals. A lot. This evening, Director Manning will make an announcement regarding the newest inoculation rollout. What's inoculation? That word sounds familiar. It's in my brain, but I can't like correlate the definition right now. If that makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Up next, Brian says, we'll take you to the Allure Detention Center for an update on the latest rebel activity and arrests. Allure is the place they're in, by the way, like the city they live in. Just so you're aware, I'm sure I've said it at this point, but I don't know. There's a lot of story building, and there's also like stuff that you don't really know fully unless you read through the whole thing and grasp it as it goes. It's not just introduced to you. And the rebels are considered the people that care for emotion and don't want to conform to the society norms in this. So it's like a divergent person in the Divergent series. The direction emblem, a world wrapped in a swooping arrow pointed north to remind Allure to focus on forward thought, spins onto the viewer and then fades, revealing an overhead view of the city. Above the screen is the spectacular dance of Arex, still don't know the word, and Guardian drones as they shoot across the sky. The display never fails to impress me. An air shuttle passes over too, making me shiver at the thought of flying. Not my thing. They have air shuttles. They have flying vehicles. Also cool. I'm in pain, so I need to shift real quick. I feel like I'm being stabbed. Except more mild version of stabbing, because that really hurts. Kyra breaks my concentration, saying configuration day. Huh? I ask. She shakes her head and gestures for me to walk toward university while folding up the thin, transparent material of her flex and snapping it to her wrist. They got snap things, by the way. Like the wrist snap things. I got one behind me. I can't reach it from here. But we got a little wrist snap thingy. That's what they snap. They snap into like a watch, but you can open them up and it's like a paper that you hold, but it's like a technology screen. From my understanding, from my description, that's From my understanding of the description, that's what it is. So... Oh yes, I confirm in a low tone. First the med checkup, then the meeting. An uncharacteristic glimmer lights up her eyes. Did you read your official message? The message? Nothing in that message would excite me today. All configuration, in quotation marks, means is that everything is changing. After our transition period, I won't even be allowed to see Kyra anymore. She's not much, but she's all I have. That's a great way to describe your friendship. Not much, but I have her. It sounds horrible. I've known her since the age of 10, when I got overly emotional one time at school. At the end of the day, she waited out front and walked me home. Kyra, an overachiever, believes she can fix me. She's even told me so. She knows everything about me. I slipped up at 12 and told her that sometimes I talk to Ben, and my dead twin. By the way, he's dead. For some reason, Kyra never breathed a word. I forgot. I lie. She stops and rests her hand on her hips. You forgot? You're not even curious about your pairings. With a good pair, you could secure a fantastic apartment right next to level 3 sector with a view of the whole city. Not to mention anyone worth pairing with is going to get snapped up immediately. Yeah, so they have like 3 different pairings, I think. What?
I went to take a drink.
Oh, did it work?
Huh?
Did it work?
No.
I brought you that like 20 minutes ago.
I know.
I brought him a pop because he was out of pop, and I was getting ready to sit down to read this stuff anyway. So I was like, I'll just grab my pop when I fill up my water bottle. And he apparently forgot that I had brought him a new cup. A new can.
Didn't even open it. Completely forgot.
So, to my understanding, you get like 3 options, and you have like trial dates to go on these dates with these options to see which one you feel or not feel. I don't know. I guess feel most compatible with, and then you choose from the 3, and if you don't choose quickly, you may not get anyone, to my understanding. Not that any direction pairs would be of interest to me anyway. What if I don't want a pairing? Ooh. Of course you want a pairing, she huffs. Otherwise, you'll end up alone and unable to fulfill your obligation of children to society. Yeah, that's all they care about. You don't show emotion, follow directions, work, have a pairing, make a child that hopefully is smarter than you. That's why.
Sounds like the world today.
Yeah. No?
Joke.
No, but like, that's why they do the pairings for your intelligence. They're hoping if they keep mixing intelligence with intelligence, the more they make, the higher the intelligence will remain throughout this bloodline.
Yeah, that tracks.
And that's the whole thing. Do-do-do. Kyra shakes her head. You never think things through. You never think these things through. But I have thought this through. Being on my own will be easier. I keep my head straight and continue walking without answering her. Oh, come on, she insists. You'll be fine. We hike the remaining blocks, nearing university. Nearing. It looks weird to me today. The smooth sidewalk continues as we pass the front of level 2 residence and the companies where we receive configuration. In an hour, I could be assigned to any of them. Sorry, I whisper, drifting toward her. I'm nervous, so much is changing. She gives me a expression of understanding. Her turn is Monday. Do you still think you'll be placed into government? I ask. Kyra shrugs. All my scores are pointing to that direction, but I overheard my parents trying to pull some strings for the actual entry position. Can they do that? I thought everything was decided in the testing system. Probably not, but they want their union to produce a superior level 2 citizen instead of offspring influenced by an overly emotional friend. Their exact words. I flush, well aware she means me. Kyra has been a good friend, but her tact could use some work. Another building's giant media screen flickers into view. Allure is a thriving metropolis. Why do the words not connect from my brain to my mouth? Largely due to the hard work and continued focus of its citizens. An unseen woman's smooth voice narrates as the scene shifts to people working. Societal configuration allows citizens to concentrate their efforts away from emotion for the benefit of all. Hurried citizens pass by. A woman shepherds a little girl to drop her off at pre-primer school. Others gaze at handhelds or move to the line for the driverless taxis. As we stop on the corner of 78th Street, a motion across the road catches my eye. A teenage sepia-skinned girl?
Mm-hmm.
What would that be? Darker? Pulls her curly hair loose from a ponytail and drops the dark coat she wore to the ground, revealing bright red clothing and standing out from the sea of neutral like illumination on a dark night. Something about the fabric appears soft and comfortable in contrast to mine, which is more or less functioning as a uniform. She races down the sidewalk and the blur of colors stream around her like a flag. A rebel. I should have known. Kyra stares, her mouth falling wide. Some citizens from the crowded street gawk, while others continue on with their business, each with eyes glued to their flex devices. The runner stops and pulls out a small, matte black weapon from a bag slung over her shoulder. My eyes grow wide. Not that. I've seen many weapons this close before, but something is unusual about it. She slides the top of the gun back, and it emits a high-pitched whine. Barely thinking, my arms shoot out and I force Kyra to the ground. Other people duck behind anything substantial, that's the word. Even if it's just the person in front of them, or sprint the other way. The rebel points the weapon at the nearby building, causing me to crouch further down. The little girl I saw earlier screams and points at the rebel clad in red. The rebels will only destroy our way of life, and that child knows it. The mother tries to cover her child's mouth and ensure her that the guardian drones will take the bad lady away. My heart pounds at the mother's words. Don't take her away. I quickly correct my thinking. They must take her away for the protection of all of us. She's overly emotional. I cover my eyes, expecting a loud blast, but it doesn't come. Instead, it's more of a crackling. There's no damage to the building, other than a set of words basiled. Yes, I think. Across the surface. The hair on my arm stand at the site. Embezzled? Is that what you said?
Can I see?
Yeah.
Emblazoned.
Emblazoned. Oh, so like used with fire?
More or less.
See, now all I can think is like firecracker going off and then splattering paint. You know? People of Allure, break free. I look at the rebel girl again, not staring right at me. Now staring right at me. My heart nearly leaps from my chest. The corners of her mouth lifts to form a tight smile, and she raises an eyebrow. Why would she smile at me? She tosses the graffiti gun and bolts, but the red clothing makes it impossible for her to hide. A group of guardian drones swarm the girl. As they do, I clench my fists and grit my teeth. She stops and immediately throws her hands into the air. The rebel just gave up. No fight, nothing. Because of it, my body feels drawn to help her fight off the drones and make a daring escape. I picture the whole daring scene in my mind. My legs push up from underneath me, and I feel a hand grab the back of my shirt. I whip around to find Kyra staring back at me, her eyes panicked. "What are you doing?" she whispers. I fall back into a crouch. This is ridiculous. I'd be throwing my future away on some crazy rebel I don't even know. I imagine her smile again. I take a deep breath as she crumbles to the ground, tranquilized. Her head hits the sidewalk with a sickening whack. Whack. It's always a weird word to try to read in your out loud versus your brain. A guardian drone's metal tentacles snake from its form and wrap around her. It lifts from the ground to take her away for judgment, maybe even re-education, but in my heart I know that that's not true. Worker drones buzz in to remove any evidence of the words she wrote on the side of the building. Citizens return to their business, acting as if nothing out of the ordinary happened. The woman and the child, the one who was screaming, rise and move along. Nothing witnessed made any impact. If she had wanted to make a sacrifice, it was wasted. Kyra and I stand there for a minute or two longer, eyeing one another before we leave. Not a word is spoken between us for the next block. The university comes into sight as does the colossal screen displayed on the face of the school. Looking up, I squint at the end of a direction initiative notice, swallowing hard at the words, "Remember your function." Okay, chapter 2. My knees still feel weak beneath me at the university entrance, and I silently order them to get it together. I square my shoulders and clench my jaw. Kyra inhales deeply and nods. We enter through the sliding glass door. Inside, the fawn-colored antiseptic halls are filled with teenagers, no rebels. You'd think there would be whispers of the attack we just saw, but no. Only seemingly oblivious students walking with handhelds folded out into tablets, shoes squeaking over glossy floors. Occasional teens hang out together here, but it's a race to the top, and we only have until the day we turn 17 to prove ourselves. Focus is essential. We're told it's essential. Fixating on a girl pointlessly sacrificing herself to momentarily deface a building is useless, and they know it. So do I. Kyra sticks to my side, keeping pace. 21 trainees had been in our group over the last 5 years, all coming of configuration age within a month of each other. 4 have been assigned already, but I know none of them well enough to ask how everything turned out. My turn comes today, and Kyra will be placed on Monday. If Ben had been a level 2 instead of a 1, we might have been in the same class, placed on the same day today. But he's dead, and so it's just me. Loneliness for my twin rushes over me when Cora Bradley targets me from the side and mutters something. I glance at this lanky, skinny girl. Her blonde hair puffs up in the back like she just rolled out of bed. Cora's grown taller, but other than that, little has changed over the years. What did you say? I ask. She leans in, smelling of bacon and whatever else she ate for breakfast. Any idea about your career placement, Evelyn? Before I answer, she adds, mine will be at Gen Tech. I have the highest scores in the group. Cora likes to talk mostly about herself and often brags to the group of her assuredly high position at Genesis Technologies. With scores like hers, I'm sure she's right, but it doesn't mean I want to be reminded of it at all the time. Gen Tech is the pinnacle of achievement, a high priority company working as a liaison between levels 2 and 3. They also make Vac Tech, the vaccines which protect us from any new potential viruses. The projects are so secret that I don't actually know what goes on there. Only the most valuable and loyal trainees in 2 are selected, not people who burst with emotion at all the wrong times. Not me. I shake my head and back away. The social grace most in the community lack is obvious in Cora's interaction with me. Ignoring her bait, I plan a response to appease her enough to go away. Gen Tech is certainly something to aspire to, a placement for the best of us. It works, she grunts and disappears. Probably to do something important. Kyra mutters words I don't care to hear. Cora's harmless, but it doesn't mean Kyra wants to hang around her either. The med station comes into view. Need to go. My appointment. I nod toward the door. Message you later to tell you how the day turns out? Sure, Kyra waves me on and gives me a small smile before she continues down the hallway to Lab 102, where the stark cubicle and system station I used for 5 years will sit vacant until the next group of students takes over the space. Kyra is the only thing I'll miss. She'll always put up with me, and I'm convinced that beneath her stony exterior, she's glad for our friendship too. With a clenched jaw, I turn toward the med station. I step in through the open door, expecting a synthetic intelligence nurse to administer the physical. Instead, a man of medium build, auburn hair, and with a slight potch, enters information into a wide, transparent viewing screen. Excuse me, I say, I'm here for an appointment. He continues his work and eventually mumbles, yes, I will be right with you. I stand and wait, canvassing the sterile white room. The closed, glossy cabinets hide their Mysterious contents inside. The med nurse, vaguely resembling a featureless torso and bald head, with 3 retractable tentacle limbs attached to its body, sits motionless, charging at a station in the corner, ready to come to life and hover over patients in need. I clear my throat. Oh yes, the man stops typing and spins in his chair to address me. Please have a seat. He directs me to a delicate chair with a smooth white finish next to a tabletop. My name already displays on the viewer from my handheld's University Auto Network function. Avalon Lark, correct? He asks. I nod and he unfolds thin flex material out into a tablet and places it in front of me. The surface of the table shows right through the screen. I'm Medic Snyder. Answer the questions on the questionnaire to the best of your ability. The basic information should already be in the system. I don't understand why I need to fill out the data again. Even so, I enter past medical procedures, med tech, and exercise habits, among answering other redundant questions that could simply be downloaded from my nanos. Medic Snyder has my file on the main screen and studies the records. He enlarges the facts and swipes each into the files on the screen with a finger when done. Without turning, he says, when finished, please place your right hand on the screen and keep it still. The pad will take a reading of your body. Why do medics tell us this at every scan? The nanos injected into your body at birth assist your DNA and bodily functions to keep you in optimal working order, blah blah blah. A slight vibration resonates in my hand and through the rest of my body. Does the scan measure the nausea in my stomach from this morning's events on the street, or my apprehensive about the meeting? Apprehension about the meeting. My stats, vitals, and ID image come on the screen. Average height, 5'5". Weight, 119 pounds. Hair, dark brown. Eyes, hazel. Yep, ordinary keeps me invisible. Along with any of those subversive thoughts that seem to pop into my brain when they're not welcome. I'm smart, but choose not to appear too smart in order to remain low-key. The only thing I can't hide are the freckles scattered across my nose. It's silly, but I've never liked them. The spots make me feel childish, level 1, and I prefer them hidden. But there they are on the gigantic viewer, completely exposed. I need shift again. My butt's a little numb. I'm good. I'm lost. The medic doesn't seem to notice them. After a moment, he reaches into a drawer alongside a seat, pulls out an object, keeping it concealed in his closed palm. Avalon, your health is optimal, other than some elevated stress levels. Yeah, he states in a flat voice, but those are likely due to your upcoming career configuration. In a few weeks, if this remains, you may obtain stress reduction. MedTech. When you log in to your new citizen account, you will see the instructions to order them. By the way, they have all this like medication that literally pumps through technology into their body to keep their emotions in check and keep them healthy. My throat hurts. I'm also kind of munchy. Everyone says the anti-stress tech is fine, but something about it never sat right with me. Even my father, who never had a rebellious thought in his life, thinks one should control their stress naturally. Although I think he just likes the challenge. Thank you, I say. And lastly, Direction has updated the disease vaccination. Some official citizens may opt to receive it today in Phase 1, or elect to wait for a later phase. If you choose to do it today, you will receive 100 additional credits into your account. Deciding for myself without mother and father is a new concept. Until now, any health choices have been theirs, as is the case for every child before 17. A warm burn spreads in my chest and crawls up my neck. I should read the update, but the temptation to make my first grown-up decision taunts me. I slip my hand into my pocket and find Ben's necklace. The same necklace that, if I were to wear it, would expose me and make me stand out from the crowd as the woman in the bright colors did. Undirected, unfocused. All the urges I need to repress. I sweep my fingertips over the polished heart shape while my own heart forms a lump and rises into my throat. I swallow the lump and without another thought, blurt out, "Sure, I'll do it." He pokes the object hidden in his hand into a port on the side of the tablet. The words "Vac Tech Transfer Complete" splashes across the screen. "Place your hand on the screen," he says. I obey, pressing my fingers against the smooth surface. It will only take a few seconds. Hold still. You shouldn't feel a thing. The tablet beeps, alerting us that the nanos have accepted the upload. I turn to the man and gather my bag. Where do I go now? He returns to the keyboard. Oh, the career counselor. We'll hold your meeting in 5:10. As I stand, my hand tingles and a flash of white bursts over my vision. I shake my head and stumble toward the door, catching myself on the door frame, but as soon as it comes, the feeling is gone. That's never happened before. Is there a problem, Miss Lark? I right myself and turn back to him. No, I mutter as I leave the sterile room. Must have been the VacTech upload. In the empty hall, my footsteps echo on the hard surface on the floor. Moving toward the stairwell, the clear lab doors come into view, exposing students working in front of viewing stations in cubicles instead of synthetic intelligence staff hovering over them. Synthetic intelligence staff hovering over them. As I run up the stairs, the burn in my calves at the fifth floor tells me I'm alive. The feeling is an excellent reminder of life before I turn over to an existence of function. One spin and I ran through the park and accidentally tumbled down a hill, laughing all the way, before our parents caught us and ushered us back into the privacy of Bess and Devon's apartment. The corners of my lips turn up at the memory. I think my camera just glitched. At the top, an echo of footfalls meets my ears. I turn back expecting a student. Instead, a young boy of about 11 with dark hair and a freckled nose follows me. My whole body clenches. Ben? As I open my mouth to say his name, the boy flickers snowy white and dissolves, leaving me alone on the stairs. What's wrong with me? I shake off the vision, but my hands continue to tremble. He's dead, Evelyn. He died when he was 4. To the left, 510 shows on the directory. Passing the other offices, their doors closed, I find the way to the correct one. Inside is a cramped waiting room with a large viewing screen displaying the direction spinning globe emblem. Another door sits to the left of the screen. I assume this is where the meeting will be held. A stiff couch waits off to the side, but I have no idea if I'm supposed to sit on it or not. So I just pace in front of it, still shaken from whatever I saw on the stairs. How can I help you? I turn to see a plump-cheeked woman on the screen. My name is Evelyn Lark. I'm here for my career appointment. Yes, she replies, rest your right hand on the identification pad next to the screen. I spot the pad and walk over to lay my hand on it, bracing for anything unusual to happen again. Leave it on the screen until I inform you to remove it. I do as she says. When I feel nothing, my body relaxes. Miss Lark, have a seat. Feel free to attend to task on your handheld while waiting. The screen goes blank and returns to the globe. A distraction from the impending meeting would be good. I bring out my device and unfold it and sit on the couch. This time, the memory of the pairing message from this morning makes me groan. It will still be available in my citizen account, along with any other official messages I've received today. The same logo from the giant screen splashes across my small one, and I'm instructed to lay a thumb on the screen for identification. I push down, and my account details display. On the left are the 100 extra credits I received at the medical exam. Excitement wells in my chest. I've never had any credits of my own before. Not that there's much to order in my citizen account, but I might get a new pair of running shoes. The thought makes me feel a little better about the meeting. A green button in the right corner of the screen informs me of 2 new messages. The first is welcome to citizenship message, and the second is the spouse pairing one I'm avoiding. I tap the welcome message. I need a drink. But before I start coughing. Miss Lark, welcome to Direction Citizenship. In this account, you will find the instructions for your new housing requirement, spouse pairing information, using and earning credits, and regulation obligations. You will be graced 1 month to complete certain requirements. During this time, you will obtain housing. Full-fledged citizens are advised to break contact with any childhood relations during the transition to complete societal configuration. Review the information and confirm that you have read and received this by completing the exam found in your account details page within 1 week. If you have any additional queries, use the search feature on any page in your account, or review the direction FAQ if questions cannot be answered through either connect immediately through Connect immediately with a direction representative. Maintain forward focus. I closed the account without checking the spouse pairing message. What's a few hours to wait to make this grown-up decision? Why do I always think that way? The door opens, my parents come through. Mother's green eyes brighten, but I know it's not for me. She's only hoping for an opportunity to show me that she was a good parent, that she did her duty. In my mind, I pretend she wants to come over, hold my hand, and discuss what to expect during the meeting, but she doesn't. Father, with his brown skin and neatly cropped hair, throws me a look that I can only take to mean, don't mess this up. He utters a quick hello before the emblem disappears again to reveal the woman. She gives them instructions like the ones she gave me. After they complete the task, they both sit on the couch. I ache to ask Mother if I made the right choice with the vac tech, and to tell her of the rebel I saw on the way in, but I say none of that. Instead, we sit in silence as Father completes work tasks on his flex handheld. Nervous energy works its way through my body, making my head spin. The door by the viewing screen opens. A lean woman with graying hair stepping out. Evelyn, Mr. and Mrs. Lark. She greets. Come in. From the dizziness, I grab my mother's arm to steady myself as we stand and follow the woman. Mother glances at me, then the spot I grabbed, but if I let go, I'm sure I'll fall over. Even so, I take in a breath and release her. 3 padded chairs wait in front of an enormous wooden desk. The desk is an odd sight. It's old, antique, and stands out from the functional, sleek appearance of the rest of the office. I take the first seat, my parents following behind. Some of the lightheadedness passes. The woman rounds the desk and sits. Introducing herself, I'm Claudia Adler. I'm gonna go with Adler. And I will handle your career configuration today, Evelyn. Your parents will serve as witness and listen to the information to assist if you have questions during the transition. Period for living under their care to becoming responsible for yourself. I rub my palms over my thighs. The hand I took the medvac in tingles again, as if an electric pulse is running through each of my fingers. I turn over my palm and find that it's glowing. What is going on? I blink and the glow is gone. I'm just nervous. Maybe I'm not ready to live on my own. Somehow, the idea of the spouse pairing is growing more and more appealing. Miss Adler continues to speak, but slowly, her mouth forming words I can't hear. My hand burns and the room rotates in slow motion. Everything in the space glows white, then falls away. The desk, my parents, and Miss Adler. Replacing them is a tall, thin boy with shaggy chocolate brown hair, dressed in a navy short-sleeved shirt and tan pants. He stands off in the distance and reaches his hand out to me. I squint. It's Ben, the way I've pictured him 1,000 times in my head if he hadn't died. Confused, I reach toward the apparition, but just as I do, the vision dissipates. So does he, sending me back to reality with a jolt. I twist toward Mother and Father, blink several times. Did you see that? Said in her head, by the way. Instead, they both exhibit satisfaction looks and turn and nod toward Miss Adler. If I didn't know better, I'd even think they almost smiling. Is the meeting over already? How is that even possible? Didn't we just sit down? Mother looks towards me with locked eyes. She mouths my name, then again, except this time I hear her. Evelyn, do you have any question for Miss Adler? What? I yelp. Do you have questions? I didn't hear a single thing during the meeting. What question should I ask? Deep breath, hold it in, and let it out. Keep control at all times. When I was 6, Father walked me to primary school. Out of nowhere, a malfunctioning auto taxi launched itself onto the sidewalk 20 feet in front of us. The taxi hit a woman, pinning her underneath it. Blood spilled onto the ground from a gash on her head. My screams caused as many people to stare our way as at the bleeding woman. It was as if electrical pulses in my legs were telling me to run towards her. Why was no one helping that woman? Father had squeezed my hand so tight I thought it might explode. Bending next to me, he pulled my chin up until I stared into his placid brown eyes. Look at me, he soothed. You must be able to control it at all times. It's essential. Tears pulled in my eyes as I kept trying to dart my eyes back to the scene, but his gaze stayed locked with mine. Evelyn, focus. Then he started breathing. Deep breaths. He held it in, then let it out. I followed him while time froze. He breathed with me for a long time, and then we finally finished. The lady in the taxi, as well as any other sign of an accident had even happened, were gone. Taken care of by drones and security vehicles, I still don't know whether she lived or died. I curl my fingers together and squeeze until I gain control. Just breathe. No, I clear my throat, but I'm looking forward to beginning tomorrow. I rack my brain trying to remember the meeting, but nothing other than the vision of Ben comes. Well, Miss Adler states and rises. If you do have questions, today's meeting is recorded in your citizen's account for review. My parents stand and nod to Miss Adler. I follow their lead, afraid the dizziness will return, but it doesn't. Father goes to the door and gestures for Mother and me to walk through. I trail them, but turn to check for Ben again. He's gone. The top of the wooden desk displays a viewing screen. I spot my name, and beside are 2 words, Genesis Technologies. The top company you can be placed at as a level 2, and the place I fear the most. I pull my bag against my body and force myself around and out the door. That's the end of chapter 2.